Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with fabulous concert programs number 9. And as you know, if you've been following this series, we are in the midst of our Martinu Symphony Cycle, and we're up to Symphony number 3. Now, Martinu's Third Symphony is his most turbulent, the most Sturm und Drang, angst-filled of all of them, in some ways the most heroic. And therefore, I have tried to devise a program that fits that sort of general ambiance, the idea of struggle, of militant struggle. There's a certain military quality to this music. It's very, very, well, if you know Martinu at all, he wrote a piece called Field Mass, which was a mass setting. It's a wonderful piece, by the way, that was based on also this sort of idea of a mass in the time of war. And Martinu's symphonies were all written right in the immediate wake of the Second World War. And so there really is something appropriate about that. And the sound of that field mass with the military drums, it's a lot of snare drum and sort of bell sounds and whatnot, it was really quite a unique approach to this idea of a bellicose music. But it's Martinu's own, and you hear it very, very clearly in the coda of the Third Symphony. But every one of these movements is an agitated, troubled, intense music. Very, very intense music. And it has 3 movements, actually, the symphony, not the normal 4. And it's really just marvelous, and it moves really fast. It has tremendous drive all the way through. So the program consists of the following. The first half, Beethoven's Egmont Overture, followed by the Martinu Third Symphony. Now, the Egmont Overture is, as you know, another very, very turbulent, strife-filled piece that ends with a huge heroic coda. And it really has an emotional similarity to what Martinu is doing. I mean, the tunes are different, the technique is different, the sound is different, yeah. But the emotional effect of it is really quite similar, and I think it works very, very well as a prelude to the symphony. Now, the symphony does not have a heroic conclusion. The symphony ends in a very uneasy state of troubled calm, you might call it. It has what seems to be like a die-away coda, but then you have the piano just going bum, these dry, sec, in French, dry, sudden chords, thump, and just cuts it off. It's really extraordinary, but it's a multiple sectional coda with some incredibly gorgeous moments, and I've talked about it before, so I don't have to do it again here. But the bottom line is, you would not want to end the concert with the ending of this symphony. It's too equivocal. There needs to be something more confident or firm, or even whether it's fast or slow or loud or soft. This is one of those really uneasy endings that leaves you hanging. So it's really great to play it just before intermission. So you go to intermission, you do your thing, and you're running around, and you come back and you sit down. What do we do with the second half? Well, I want to continue the idea of a certain militant quality that we've had in the first half, but with completely different music, in a completely different way. And so the 2 works that I chose are Mozart's 21st Piano Concerto, also known as the Elvira Madigan, which doesn't make any sense to most people because no one's seen the movie. I know we've had this discussion. Some of you have seen the movie. Good for you. It was the slow movement that made it into the movie, and that is not what I want to emphasize in choosing this concerto. I chose this concerto because it's one of Mozart's grandest military concertos. In other words, it uses trumpets and drums. In the classical period, trumpets and drums meant military music, and it really does here. The opening of this concerto is dum bum 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 ba da dum ba dum bum 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 ba da dum ya da 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 da, and the trumpets and drums come in with da dum bum ba dum bum ba da dum bum bum. Mozart had this amazing ability, just with a couple bars like that, just with the quiet entrance of trumpets and drums, to immediately evoke that sense of military parade, which is sort of what this first movement is. And so it makes a very, very sensible complement to the music that we heard in the first half, but it's in a totally different style, because Mozart's style is, of course, that of opera buffa, by and large, comic opera, and his military stuff is happy military. It's not turbulent death and destruction military. And in keeping with that, I would like to follow up Mozart's 21st Piano Concerto with Kodály's Háry János Suite, which is a fabulous, fabulous concert-ending kind of extravaganza with lots of march music and percussion, but it's also parodistic. It's a completely different take on the idea of military music because Háry János is a braggart and nothing he says is true. And he talks about how he defeats Napoleon. And there's all this, his exploits on the field of battle. And it's always just incredibly heroic, but also very comical and very ironic. And so I think that makes a wonderful conclusion to a program, the first half of which is extremely serious. It really is. It's very serious, even dark in color, but where the dawn, the sun comes up in the second half, and we have two very different takes on this idea of militarism in music. And again, this is one of those ideas. It runs through all four pieces, but it's not a theme concert in that sense. I don't expect people to think military. I don't want to tell them that it's all about military music or march music. This stuff simply creates a certain connection between all the works, but it does it in a way which has a huge variety of affect. We're not hammering home the same message in work after work after work after work. That's not the idea at all. The idea is to show how the same topic or topos, could have so many different applications, so many different shades of meaning and differences in variety of expression so that it never gets stale or old or dull. And in that natural progression, Martinu's Third Symphony has an absolutely unique and unmissably marvelous place. So I think that would work really well as a program. And I'm curious to see what you think of it. If you play it at home, give it a shot. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And that you'll really, really enjoy the Martinu in this context. I think it sets it off quite well. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me in these programs, these wonderful imaginary concerts that maybe someday someone will do. Who knows? In the meantime, we will all do them at home. Take care.